go, you're in the studio with Leon Switch, and today I want to introduce you to the modulation page in Ableton stock sampler. This is video 2 in the series, and in today's video we cover the auxiliary envelope as well as the 3 LFOs, and we make a pretty random but cool sound that utilises the modulation page to quite an extreme. I hope you find this video insightful and helpful. Now let's get on with the video. Much love. Okay, so we're in Ableton and I've dragged a sampler into the empty MIDI channel, and I've also grabbed an analog and I've just set up a very quick filter on the default as it comes out of the box, and I've put a supermassive on it so that we've got just a very simple simple noise. And what I figured was today we could do is we could just program in a very quick, let me just get rid of these. We could program in a very quick sort of little riff. There's the settings for how to supermassive in case you want them. And then we'll put that riff straight into the sampler and we'll see what we can do with the loop modes and stuff like that. So let's insert a MIDI clip there. Let's get it to loop, and I just want it to be just very simple. So I'm just going to program in something and then we'll go from there. So let's just try something like that. And let's grab that and that. Let's duplicate that across. Just go up a note. There we go. I think that's right. Nice. Nice, and then we can just copy that all across. So if I click in there, I go Control A, hold Shift, so I click onto the bar where I want it to copy to, then go Control D, then we should have that little riff in there. Super cool. So what I'll do is I'll take the loop off and I will, in fact what I'll do is I'll just flatten it. That'll be our best bet. So if I flatten this, so freeze track, and then I flatten it, flatten track, there we go. So what I can do now is I can drag this tail out over the top, and then we've got that reverb on there. If I now grab the sampler, I can now drag this straight into the sampler. And then we've got across our keys, I'll turn on the... Nice, let's turn the volume up on it. And obviously if we go up an octave, or down an octave, nice, and anywhere in between. Super cool. So let's set up a loop, and let's be kind of rough with it as well. So let's go snap on. Let's go best on the interpolation, just because we know that that's the settings that I like to use for right now. And let's now just bring this loop so that we're basically just playing it over and over forwards. Let's bring the loop end in. We'll use these. Let's go to here. Let's go back from here. Sorry, I just want like almost a bit of a random loop. So let's just try something like that. Let's see if we can get that at the beginning. Okay, I want it to be a lot smaller than that, I think. So let's just try something like this for the second. Nice, a little bit of crossfade. Sweet. And what we will do is we'll just come across to the modulation page. Now, this page we haven't looked at yet. It's relatively simple, although it looks complicated on the first glance. But if we start on the left-hand side here, we've got the auxiliary envelope. And this is just an envelope that is assignable to pretty much any dial or control in Ableton, in the sampler, sorry, which is super handy. So you've got complete control in. It's not a fixed envelope like these other ones on the filter page. These are fixed, so that's a fixed filter envelope, that's a fixed volume envelope, that's a fixed pitch envelope. So these are all fixed, they're all designed for that job, that's all they're going to do. As with this envelope, we can put, say for instance, let's go filter frequency, there we go, filter frequency, and we can give it some amount, so we'll go like 100, and it's basically now exactly the same as having this filter turned on. Turn that down, you can hear it's no different now to having the filter frequency, the filter envelope on. So let's turn the filter off for a second and let's come back to here. So that's the amplifier, the auxiliary envelope. It's just a spare envelope that it's assignable to anything. So let's reset this. We can go none on here or off. There we go. And let's go. Let's turn it off. So let's have a look at LFO1. So LFO1 is the basic LFO in the sampler. It's basically it's good that it gives you a little display here, so you can see what mode you're on or what type of LFO you've got going. We come to the end here. You can see we've got the different types. We've got sine wave, and notice that that's very smooth. We've got square wave, and notice that that's very sharp. We've got a triangle. Notice how that is. So sawtooth, and then a reverse sawtooth. And then or an inverted sawtooth, however you want to put it, and then we've got our noise. So that's basically the envelope. So you can then time it up to the tempo, so we can, you've got your different quantizations of your tempo there. So at the minute we're at 140, so I've put that on 1. That's going to cycle. There we go. So every one of these cycles is going to be 1 bar. Pretty cool. We can then have it so that it re-triggers. So every time we press the key, does the LFO start again? And if we turn the re-trigger off, the LFO is now just running. It's just running constantly, Super cool, simple, really, really simple. We have this attack here, and the attack is lovely. It basically puts like a bit of a delay between when you press the key, so when you trigger the envelope, when you trigger the LFO, it takes a while to open out into the LFO, which is super cool. In fact, let's do a little experiment now. So let's grab the filter up. Let's come back to the filter here, turn the filter down. So we've now just assigned this LFO to control the filter cutoff. And as it stands at the minute, it sounds like this. Yeah, not very exciting. But if I now add attack in, so if we go say 3.5 seconds, it takes 3.5 seconds to get up to the full LFO sort of movement as it was. It just gives you a slow attack into the thing, like a fade in. So we can turn that off. The re-trigger once again does exactly what it says on the tin. So you can hear at the moment. It's exactly the same every time I press the key. If I turn it off, you can hear that the LFO is just cycling. And we're just basically whenever we press the key, is at a different phase in the envelope. Different part of the cycle. We've then got the offset, and you can see it's got a little degree sign next to it. So we've got 360 degrees, which is basically your entire LFO. So I always picture an LFO as being kind of like a circle that just basically cycles. So the offset is whereabouts in this cycle does it start from. So if I go to 180 degrees, let's type that in, 180. In theory, in fact, if I put this on 8, there we go. So if I change this, so you can see that it starts now on this middle section here, and the first thing it does is it goes up for half a bar, and then it comes back down for the other half a bar, or however long your timing is there, but it basically starts and it goes up. If I change this to 180 degrees, it flips it. So it starts it and it then goes down, because it's a 360 circle, 360 degrees in a circle, and so you're just picking points within that. So if I go, say, 90 degrees, we're basically a quarter of the way through the cycle. And if I go 270, there we go, we're now sort of another quarter through. Do you see what I'm saying? So you can offset your LFO, and that can work really, really nice. So the only thing I don't like about this LFO is that you're fixed with your destinations. So it's going to affect the volume, the filter, the panning, or the pitch, and that is it. You don't have any more options with it than that. And that for me is a little bit of a bummer, because I like to assign stuff randomly every now and again just to do some sound design and just have a play. So let's go to LFO2. And LFO2, very much like the auxiliary envelope, has got options for where we want the LFO to go to. Let's go length. Let's go sample start. Pretty sample offset. Okay, let's go sample offset, and then that should start to take us through the sample. In theory. There we go. So if we turn the re-trigger off, then we should now have like a bit of a floating start point. So you can see now, whenever I'm pressing the key, it's starting at different positions within the thing. Let's turn the loop off. Yeah, so that's me now clicking on the keyboard. it's just randomly moving that start point about. Let's bring this back. Really nice, really cool. So you can get sort of almost like a bit of a granular sort of feel out of it. In fact, if we turn the beats down here, let's make it faster. And let's just try programming in something, shall we? Let's just insert a MIDI clip and let's loop it around that. Let's also turn off this other channel here. And let's just, where are we? C. So let's go like this. We might need to duplicate that, but let's double the speed a bit. Let's have a look at our settings here. So let's adjust this. So you could see that you could start to get some cool kind of bits and pieces with that. Let's try turning the time down a little bit. And let's go retrigger. Okay, so we don't want retrigger, so we don't want it to start at the same point each time. Super cool. It might even work if we were to bring this to this tail. There we go. Really nice. We could then come to the amplifier envelope and maybe give it a little bit of attack. If we turn the R off, we could give it some release. Nice. And then LFO3 is just a direct copy of LFO2. So it's very much, once again, like the auxiliary envelope, where we can assign the LFO to whatever we want. Brilliant, like super, super, super cool. So let's maybe try assigning this to the LFO, not to the LFO, although I think we can do LFO, yes, we can do LFO and mounts and stuff like that. So LFO and mount filter, so that's this first LFO1, and then we've got LFO2 here, amount A and B. So we could even adjust this offset. So we could go LFO2 amount A, and we can have LFO2 now adjusting this amount here. So let's have a look at that. Let's turn on the timing and let's have it so that it's like 2. So this is now getting changed. And that's actually made it a little bit smoother. To make this faster. So you can see you can get some really, really cool sort of things out of it. Nice, so let's just try giving that some attack. Let's see what that's looking like. So it's kind of, it is like granular synthesis, you know? Like super cool. And that's just playing with the loops. Well, it's just playing with the LFOs, it's not even playing with the loops, you know? Okay, let's also grab some filter frequency on this LFO here. And let's see what's happening with that. So let's bring the filter down. Nice, although I'm not convinced, it's a little bit of a shame. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll turn the filter frequency off of LFO3, and luckily enough we've got the filter frequency on LFO1, and it's like hardwired as it was. So we can now maybe adjust this to, say, the noise. We could come to sort of 1/8 on the timing, I suppose. You can find it, 116, there we go, 1/8. And we could try something like that. Nice. Let's turn some of this envelope on. Give it some drive. Make that filter more prominent. And we haven't added any effects there at all, you know, it's like super, super cool. So let's just double check on this again. Let's have a look and see what it's saying. And we could try even reversing it. Bring this in a little bit. Nice. Really, really, really cool. So what we could also try is we could then go even more complicated with this, turn on the auxiliary envelope, and we could go filter morph. We can now just give this some amount here, and we can come back and adjust this in a second. In fact, let's just randomly, I mean, this is really random, so 2.5 seconds there, decay can be like that, and then the release can be, there you go. I don't know what I've just done there, but let's come back to the filter page here, and let's now change this to this morphing filter, and we'll see what happens with this now. You can hear we've got movement there with the envelope here. Let's try. Get some cool things out of it. On the other way. Oh, nice. Really nice. A little bit quiet at the moment, so let's get some. Let's change the volume on it. Right, okay, let's come to the overall volume. In fact, let's turn up the volume here. Really cool. And then we could even add like another supermassive in there. Go to my default preset. Just bring down the dry wet. Really nice. Okay, let's just lose the Valhalla there for a second, and let's just try this down an octave. So let's come back to here. Let's try. And let's try knocking this down. Just 2 maybe. I think it's because it's a bit of a chord already. No, so that's not going to work. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But anyway, you get the idea. You know, that the sampler is a lot of fun, especially for sound design. You know. Oh, so we could even, here we go. So just randomly add some octaves in. And get hold of it. There we go. And there's nothing saying that you can't now go filter to velocity and adjust the velocities on it, you know? It's such a cool concept, like the options you've got at hand. Nice. We can loop it over this part here. Sorry. Control L. Nice. And there's no effects on there. And we could adjust this so maybe we don't want it to be able. Give it some drive, so the shape is going into the filter. Let's change this back. I don't like the high notes in there at all. How to ruin something quite cool. And actually, let's go back to the octave above. Nice. That was definitely nicer on the minus. But anyway, you get the idea, you know. So definitely go check out the modulation page on the sampler, and yeah, like super cool, you know. Just experiment. You've got nothing to lose ultimately, and you can get some really different cool results out of it. So anyway, I hope that was insightful and helpful, and I didn't go too quick, or it was just a bit of a weird one. But yeah, much love, and I will catch you in the next one.